What's up my dudes, it's great to see you, Jack here, and in this video I'm going to give you the rundown on this admittedly great looking Ibanez RGA, but looks definitely aren't everything. I'm actually a little bit apprehensive to do this review because this guitar seems to have been really well received, and what I'm about to say might upset a few people, but believe me when I say I am a huge Ibanez fan, always have been. I wanted so badly for this guitar to be great because I've always been intrigued by the RGA. It's an archtop version of the classic RG shape, but it's not something you see played by many guitarists. I'd always wondered why that was, because to me that's a cool thing, right? There had to be a reason, so I decided to find out. At about 400 quid this seems like a great option for everyone ranging from new players to experienced players who just want something a little bit more budget friendly to fling around. But the market at that price point right now is super competitive, with other brands putting out really high quality instruments. There's household names like Epiphone, Schecter, ESP Ltd, and then there's even more pressure from the little guys like Harley, Benton and Jet. Loads of their guitars have got much better features than this, so why would you choose this one? Well, the build quality is decent and there's no denying that it looks sick. The Marantzi archtop body is finished in this Black Aurora Burst Matte, which is a super unusual finish. In the flesh it's sort of like a grey metallic, and then when the light catches it, it's this flip-flop purple to silver burst. It looks really good, and with a matching headstock and white binding it really pops. And on the body we've got Ibanez's take on the Fender style 6 saddle fixed bridge, 2 Ibanez Quantum humbuckers, 1 volume, 1 tone, a 5-way selector switch, and then on the headstock we've got a plastic nut and some pretty bog standard Ibanez tuners. The 24 fret neck is a maple wizard profile with an unbound Jatoba fingerboard and then cool offset dots to give the guitar a little bit more personality. And as far as construction's concerned, there's not a lot wrong with the neck. It's straight, the frets haven't got any eye spots, and the edges are fairly well finished, although they are a little bit sharp in places. Having said that, from the 15th fret onwards there are some like nasty rusty spots on the fret wire, and they're not that smooth. And this is where my first issue with this guitar comes in. For the price of this guitar, the competition are doing some things much better than Ibanez here. For a start, the fretwork. I'm not a madman by any means. I don't expect perfectly crowned, leveled and polished custom shop frets on a £400 guitar, but these feel like the frets of a much lower quality instrument, and here's why.
I can't stress how much I love this thing, and it's just over 200 quid. A lot of guitar here for just over 200 quid. Look!
The fact of the matter is, it is not a £400 guitar. It's basically a 200 quid guitar that Ibanez kept making, and it just doesn't hold up in the current market. Accounting for inflation and the cost of materials and that sort of thing since that video, you can expect the price to go up a bit, but that really begs the question, why are other manufacturers making much better guitars at the same price point? They're using better materials like roasted maple for the neck and traditional woods for the body, using higher end components, and doing an excellent job of making their cheaper guitars feel premium by putting loads of effort into the fretwork and even using stainless steel. But materials aren't everything. How does this guitar feel and what does it play like? Straight up, it just doesn't feel like an Ibanez to me, dude. Granted, my 2 current Ibanez guitars were much more expensive than this, but I've played Ibanez models at varying price points and this just feels lacking. The main thing that makes an Ibanez feel right is the neck, and even though this is the wizard profile, it feels a little bit more like a modern C to me. If I was blindfolded and somebody passed me this guitar by the neck, Ibanez would not be my first guess at the manufacturer. Although it's subjective, I personally wouldn't say this is a bad neck in any way, it just feels really standard. There's not a lot to say about it honestly, it just feels like a nondescript electric guitar neck. The fretboard edges are very slightly rolled though, and it's comfortable to play on aside from those few scratchy fret ends. The RGA body shape is cool though, and I do like it. It's much thinner than an RG and sits right on the line between an RG and an S series. It's got more aggressive contouring, the upper fret access is ace, and it feels pretty ergonomic overall. That also makes this guitar much lighter than your usual RGs, so that's ace for the people who like to stand up and practice or they're out shredding at gigs. For the rest of us who like to sit down in our little music spaces avoiding everybody, it is comfortable on the knee, and the slight arch of the top makes it comfortable on the picking arm. But when that picking hand finally meets the bridge, it all goes to shit. This bridge is absolute trash, dude. I'm sorry, I try to find positives even in the stuff I don't like, but this bridge has got absolutely no redeeming features. It feels super cheap, it looks awful, and if you're playing the guitar over low action, the grub screws in the saddles just stab the piss out of your hand. It's basically a traditional 6 saddle bridge that's been painted black, and it's got absolutely no place on a guitar that markets itself for modern players. This guitar came with a 3mm action, which is bad in itself, but actually making any adjustments to the saddles or the intonation just feels really cheap. I actually hate it, dude. Like, the bridge on this guitar really is a huge reason that I'm not stoked on it at all. This guitar lacks all the feel of an Ibanez and just feels cheap overall. I'm not going to say it's a terrible guitar like a Strat copy that you found in a bin once, but it's just got nothing special about the way it feels or plays. It lacks all the quality that I'm used to from all ranges of Ibanez. A new guitar player just getting their first proper electric that isn't the bin Strat would probably love it, and that's cool, but for the money there are so many better options even from Ibanez themselves, especially on the second-hand market, that I'm going to show you. And quickly, if you're finding this video helpful or you like what I do here, a quick click of the like button really helps the channel out loads. I appreciate you, dude. Let's talk about what this guitar sounds like. So the Ibanez Quantum humbuckers in this guitar are decent. They're not mind-blowing in any way, but they're definitely a competent set of humbuckers that'll do whatever you need them to. I don't think they've got any real tonal qualities that would make them stand out against any other set of nondescript humbuckers, but the output's good, and you can get a good metal and rock tone out of them with the right rig. Honestly, dude, it's pretty hard to tell you about them. There's just not a lot you can really say about such a standard sounding set of humbuckers. They'll do whatever you need them to do, clean or driven, but they'll do it in the most flat and like uninspiring way possible. And it is entirely possible that the thinner body on this guitar does affect its tone. Having less mass than a regular RG could be the reason that this guitar's tone doesn't really do it for me, but it's hard to say for sure. The benefit of you having a lighter guitar might be something that outweighs the difference in potential tone, or if you're like me and you play with enough gain to not really notice, it might be worth it for you. The 5-way selector switch does give the guitar a fair bit of flexibility, and it's standard fare really, with a bridge, middle, neck and then 2 split options. I don't know about you, but that doesn't really excite me either. How many of us rip it up in positions 2 or 4 really? Final thoughts? I don't think you should waste your money on this guitar. Although it looks great, the options around 400 quid are just so much better. It feels cheap because it is, and it lacks all the feel that Ibanez guitars usually nail. And it's so boring to play even though it looks cool. I've got no interest at all in modding this guitar because even if you put the best parts on it, it'll still feel dull. Let's talk about what you should spend your hard-earned cash on instead. To start, there's the LTD EC256, the Jackson Adrian Smith, the EVH Wolfgang, tons of extras. If I listed all the options that I would have chosen in hindsight, we'd be here all day. So here are 3 suggestions that you should seriously consider if you want a guitar that's got actual playability and real value for money. First, the Harley Benton Fusion 3 EMG HT Roasted. I want to get one of these on the channel soon because the quality that comes out of Harley Benton is just incredible for the money. That guitar packs EMG retroactive pickups, a roasted maple neck, stainless steel frets, locking tuners, a hip shot style bridge and a Graphtec nut, all in a package that's 400 quid. You will not get a more specced out brand new guitar for the same price as this one. Next, the Jackson Adrian Smith. It's a little bit more expensive at $469, but it's got all the hallmarks of a classic Super Strat. Top mounted Floyd Rose, 12 to 16 inch compound radius fretboard and the neck's reinforced with graphite. It's probably one of the most affordably priced legit Super Strats on the market. And finally, second-hand Ibanez guitars. For instance, my Iron label, which is now heavily modified, was $399 second-hand and it was immaculate. I gave it a makeover, sure, but even before that it still played and sounded incredible. There are some insanely good deals on used Ibanez guitars for 400 quid. Look for the Iron label RGs, or in particular look for the RG350DXZ and the RG421EX. There's the Gem Junior to think about as well, and they're all less than 400 quid used. Every single one of those options is much better than this guitar. There's really no excuse for Ibanez to be making such dull and uninteresting guitars at £400 anymore, especially when you put it next to what Harley Benton are doing. Ibanez really need to step it up because eventually name alone is just not going to keep them relevant at this price point if they keep making guitars like this. And I am a huge Ibanez fan, so it really sucks to make this video, but like, what am I supposed to do? Lie to you? I don't think so, dude. And if you're interested, here's the story behind my Iron Label mod project. I think you'll like it. In the meantime, take care mate, stay safe. I'll see you later.